Hi, Tarot Tribe. Wilma from Freyja's Daughter. Moving right along in my in first impressions and flip throughs of all these Kickstarter decks that I have promoted and supported, I should say, is the better term. And today I'm doing the Liz Houston's, I'm assuming that's how you say it, Liz Houston's Dreamkeepers Tarot. And so it came with a few bits here. Let me get this out. So it does come in a tuck box. And you all know how I feel about tuck boxes. I don't care for them at all. As you can see, it's already in kind of being moved around in my place. Got a little bit of dings here. I find the problem with tuck boxes is even the first time you just even open it, you're going to get rips on the lids. They just do not last at all. However, she did thankfully provide us with a handy dandy tarot bag. So you can kind of hide your dinged up, box in your bag as it starts to kind of deteriorate, and it will. So, however, it comes also with a card that has signed. So it's a 365 of 376. I was definitely near the end, clearly. Dear friend, thank you for supporting. May these cards bring you insight, solace, comfort, guidance, and reassurance. I was really, drawn to this deck and the imagery because it just seems kind of like surreal, and I hope it lives up to my kind of expectations of it because, that was sort of my impression when I saw what she was kind of offering on there. There's also a fridge sticker or a sticker there with one of the images. I'm assuming that is that the world? We'll find out. And then obviously her business card there. So those are bits that came. So let's open this up and have a look to see more about this. Using my scissor, which is never, always got to be careful that I don't scratch things up. Okay, so she's got the image on the back. I'm not sure. We'll find out which that is, if that's the world card maybe. This probably is the lover's card. I love, look at the faces. It's so awesome. Okay, so clearly Dreamkeepers Tarot implies that this might be things that come from your dreamscape and imagination. Duh. Right? Okay, so let's pull these cards out and have a look. So we do have a booklet here. So it's just a small key. So it's not extensive, but it just gives you enough of the, the words or the keywords, meanings for people who, want to have that with their decks, and definitely for, people who may not have an extensive tarot knowledge base, they definitely have a little something that they can kind of pull some understanding and meaning of the cards from. And that's always great. So let's shove that back in the box because, of course, I never look at the guidebooks. Okay, so this is the backings. And this, I love all things vintage. So I kind of, my sort of theme, in my whole brand for my tarot practice is sort of that vintagey thing. So I love anything that kind of pulls and has a reflection of that. So this reminds me of sort of that vintage wallpaper, sort of Victorian, or even maybe into the Edwardian. But so yes, and it almost feels like a stamp effect. So I'm loving that big time. Of course, because of the angle of this, this is not going to be reversible, but some people don't care. I actually don't read reversals much. I will read reversals if I'm reading a Rider-Waite-Smith deck. I don't worry about that. So some people will automatically put reversals into their deck. So they will flip the deck around half of it and shuffle it in order to deliberately get the reversals. I don't, but I also, if a card comes up in the course of, because I generally don't read reversals and I try as much as possible to keep my deck in the upright position, if a card does come out reversed, it's more meaningful to me, and then I do read it, certainly from that standpoint. So there's she didn't put any like gild or anything on the side, which is no big deal. It's not every deck needs to kind of go there. So it's kind of the regular, it's not super glossy or anything, but it's not like a matte per se. It's a little bit more of one of those decks that are more of a flexible deck. So this would be a great deck, I think. But it's like solid, like it's a solid cardstock. So this will be a good deck for you to do your rifling with if you want. So let's take a look at this. So first of all, we've got the Fool. So I'm thinking when I look at these images that this might, wow, I love the vintagey feel to it. And it's definitely, this came from a creative mind for sure. Okay, so this is the Creatrix, which that's that image that she's got on the back of the box. So in lieu of the Magician, which is interesting. Cool interpretation, the Creatrix. I like it. Ooh, look at this High Priestess. So I think this must be like sort of her digital collage. She's very good for sure at what she's put together. Because it looks like an old photograph, and then maybe she's done kind of digital painting on top of it. It's very, I love her in the nest. So nice. The Empress. So this deck feels to me already, and I think you kind of get that from the name of the deck, that it will have a very strong connection to sort of a more intuitive reading interpretation. The Emperor. Lovely. The Hierophant, and she has a woman in that role, which I love it when things are kind of switched up in terms of changing. I'm going to move this here because it's going to slip and slide everywhere. So if I put it in my lap, it'll stay a little bit better. So this is that other image that she has on the front of her box, which is the Lover's card. And I love the two faces sort of, or they're masks actually. And they're so like, looks to me like it's a deck that you can pull a lot of interesting connections and meanings, and maybe look at each card in an entirely new and different way, which I love when artists do that, when they kind of, tweak things a little bit and sort of, are we masking our true selves for those we love? So we will be loved. I don't know, it's an interesting, thoughtful thing to kind of pull from that. So there's our Chariot. That's definitely your typical Rider-Waite-Smith, but with the looks like a female role in there. Ooh, look at this. Strength. Wow, what is she wrapped up in? It's a snake. But she's coming out of an egg. Wow. Okay. Wow. So this is definitely a deck that will really get you to go deeper, I think, and look at your cards in an entirely new and different way. The Hermit. Okay, so she's got the Fates. I love that, the 3 Fates. I'm actually doing a sorcery course at the moment, and doing a lot of work with the Fates. So this is really interesting that this, I pull this up and they come out here and she's chosen them. So it's definitely that female, divine, feminine, female energy piece. So I love that she chose it. And I love that they're kind of like apple peelings. So creative. Okay. So here we have justice. Here we have the Hangman. And I find when I see, artists like this artist and sort of the way in which it's clear to me that she's, really choosing to sort of take the tarot and kind of expand it and really, it allows you then to kind of really expand your understanding, right? And you go, what's that about? And what does that mean? And where's she going with that? And it's interesting that she doesn't have a specific guidebook, because then it's really leaving the onus onto you. Because I think sometimes when you rely oftentimes on an artist telling you what their interpretation is, it then detracts from you allowing yourself to kind of build your own interpretation. And so it feels to me like what she is trying to do in this deck is get you to build your own thinking and interpretation. We got Temperance, and look, it's a puzzle piece. Interesting. We've got the Devil. I love that. Tower. Oh. Star. Moon. It's a lot of feminine energy in here, which is great. I love the sun. All, the feminine divine energy, Judgment. And this World card is, oh my God, to die for. I love that. I love it. Wands. So here we are in the Wands. Wow. I'm liking what she's doing with this. Really, so much. Very awesome. And the way in which she's kind of draped the figures. She's definitely got skills, man. It looks to me like she's taken these vintage images of these women, and then she's kind of painted on top of them and painted the scenario. It's amazing. I'm loving it. It's sort of marrying the two worlds in a way, which is awesome. Or art forms, I should say. 8 of Wands. We got our 9, which is typical. 10. Wow. Okay, so I'm just going to start moving along here. We got our Page, our Knight. Oh, here we got some men coming in. Our King, obviously, and our Queen. This is Cups, I think. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. So definitely a dream keeper, right? A dreamscape in each of these images, for sure. But you know what? She's taken enough of the Rider-Waite-Smith aspects that you could easily read with this without having to do tons and tons of work on it. And of course the colors are a little bit more muted, which gives you that sort of like dreamy element. And our Ace of Swords. Here we get into the sword. I love seeing what people do with swords because swords are just so that challenge element, right? Whew. Okay. This. Oh. This. Oh my goodness. I love that. I love that. This. Yes, this is definitely a deck that I am most definitely going to use. I chose well. You never know sometimes what you're going to get, whether or not you're going to make a connection to a deck. And it's inevitable when you are ordering new decks, if you know, that you are going to find that you'll get it into your hands and you'll look at it and it might not be something that you connect with or sort of resonates with you in a real way. But this deck definitely does. Hugely. I love what she's done, and I'm going to be studying her images even more closely. I want to know. There's lots going on in each of these pictures, and because it has that kind of surreal aspect, I love that. You know, it really allows you an opportunity to kind of think outside the box and intuit in an interesting way. Sorry, this is I guess the Queen here, Queen of Swords. She's lovely. Ace. So we're into Pentacles now. So there are like look at that. Huh. 3. Look at that. Okay. 4. 5. 6. This is definitely a deck I need to spend more time with and need to work with. But this is going to be going for sure on my table to do some work with. Because, plus, I just love this vintagey, feminine feel. So awesome. And then we got our page. Our knight. Our king. Oh, look at that. It's like, and look at our Queen of Pentacles. She's beautiful. Okay, well, I'm really pleasantly surprised. I wasn't, it's always hard to know when you are getting a new deck whether or not you're going to connect. But I feel, the energy that I'm getting off of this deck and sort of just how I feel a lot of the images are really resonating with me in a really positive and deep way, that this is going to be definitely one of those decks that I am going to enjoy and appreciate. And I just love her, the images that she's chosen and how dreamlike it is. I mean, which is obviously the name of the deck, but so like, again, I'm going to say sometimes not everyone likes to have sort of a more surreal kind of imagery. It can be a little bit more challenging for people. Maybe they don't, they find it a little bit too different or strange. I don't. I find that this was just really well put together, and it really spoke to me. So, but take a look at, the deck itself. I'm not sure she's on Etsy or not. I think for some reason it's clicking to me that I think maybe she is, that the deck is on Etsy. But I would recommend you just Google, right? Google anything to sort of get that. So that is let me pull this is the Dreamkeeper, Liz Houston's Dreamkeepers Tarot, and it's definitely worth a look. And this is definitely a deck that I am very pleased to have part of my collection and will be enjoying to work with. So check it out.